The Interloper War, also known as the War for the Sacred Realm, was an event that happened in the ancient past, a time long forgotten, a time that happened after the events of Skyward Sword, but before the events of the upcoming Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment. The Interloper War is an event in Hyrule's history that affects everything and everyone. It is more than likely the most impactful and important event in Hyrule's history, but also the one that is often overlooked, neglected, and buried in history. Today's theory will go into the possibility of how the Interloper War was much more important than we were originally led on, and how it could very well tie into Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment. Sometime after the events of Skyward Sword, the people of the surface would settle down and make settlements. There was no kingdom to follow, no crown, no royalty, for the goddess reborn, known as Zelda of the Era of Sky, was not a princess, nor was her father, Headmaster Gabe, a king. There was no royalty. The people on the surface comprised of some, but not all, of the humans from Skyward Sword that would live on the surface. Not every single human knew that there was a surface underneath the clouds. Most of them believed that there was just an endless void and nothing below Skyloft and the clouds. Along with these humans would be people that were hiding underground. These people were hiding for thousands upon thousands of years, ever since Demise first waged war on the goddess Hyrule. These people were the survivors. Sheikah, Gorons, and even other humans emerged from the underground. These people would meet up with the humans from the sky and live in harmony. A great peace was known. A great time passed afterwards, in which the Zonai descended from the heavens. Entrusted with them were the secret stones that held magical properties that would enhance a wielder's special ability. In this ancient time, the people of the surface saw these Zonai as gods, and the treasures that they were gifted, the secret stones, as godly treasures. These Zonai possess these secret stones. These stones seem to have almost godlike properties to enhance one's abilities. And in this ancient past, people grew envious. There was no Hyrule, there was no kingdom, there were just people and settlements. A faction of these people on the surface were highly skilled in both battle and dark magics. These people would wage war on the Zonai, humans, and other people of the surface to claim their right to rule the sacred realm. These people were known as the Interlopers. The Interlopers were a faction of people on the surface that were highly skilled in battle and dark magic. These Interlopers would use their knowledge to make the relic known as the Fused Shadow, amplifying their dark magic just like how the secret stones would for the wielder's own power and abilities. During this great time of terror and uncertainty, the Golden Goddesses asked 3 Zonai dragon priests that held a secret stone each, one of forest, one of earth, and one of shadow, to help the people of the surface. These dragon priests agreed and would ask assistance of the Zonai elder Minaru, her younger brother Rauru, and the current goddess bloodline inhabited within Sonia. Sonia is a descendant of Zelda. Sonia would know these dragon priests because, being a bloodline descendant of the goddess, reincarnated, she would go to the 3 springs of power, wisdom, and courage, ruled by these 3 dragon priests. As we move forward in this idea, Draconification comes to mind. Minaru said,
"There are stories about the secret stones and a forbidden act called Draconification. To swallow a secret stone is to become an immortal dragon, one blessed with eternal life."
that Draconification is a forbidden act. But how could this act be forbidden unless it happened before? The idea I bring forward is, these 3 dragon priests of power, wisdom, and courage swallowed their stones, power swallowed earth, wisdom swallowed shadow, and courage swallowed forest. These dragon priests were also highly skilled with not just light magics, but also spirit magics. In thus doing so, they were able to separate their souls from their bodies, similar to Minaru.
I am able to separate my spirit from my body. Rauru can repel or destroy evil with his power of light.
But these souls, also known as spirits, would inhabit great light and become these light spirits. Their bodies would then become the three immortal dragons, Farash, Dinral, and Nadra. Their souls would become the light spirits, Faron, Eldin, and Lineru. Rauru, being the sage and holder of light, would be this fourth light spirit. While not separating his spirit from his body, he would be seen as an embodiment of light and protector of light, and to one who cannot see Rauru so clearly, might mistake him for a goat. In this ancient time, the golden goddesses asked these four beings, these four holders of light, to stop the interlopers and put them into their prison known as the Twilight Realm, and before sealing that door would throw 1/4 of the fused shadow within. When the Twilight Realm was sealed, the fused shadow's other 3 parts were dispersed among the land. The Interloper War was not only a war for dominion of the Sacred Realm, but possibly also a war for the Secret Stones. To these people and inhabitants on the surface, for a great unknown time since the end of Skyward Sword, seeing these Zonai almost as gods with these stones may possibly have thought these stones can unlock the Sacred Realm. And in this ancient time of the Interloper War, we could presume that 6 stones were used: forest, shadow, earth, time, light, spirit, with the 3 dragon priests now taking forms of the immortal dragon trio from their bodies and the light spirits from their souls. We are now down to 3, but that still leaves 4 more stones to go. Those 4 stones would be gifted to the Sage Champions in the upcoming Age of Imprisonment, which is also known as the Memories of Tears of the Kingdom. In knowing this, the Sacred Realm was shut and the Triforce was protected. Following the events of the Interloper War and the banishment of the interlopers to become Twilight, Rauru would make the Temple of Time, and then following the construction of the Temple of Time would marry Sonia. Both him and his wife, Queen Sonia, would create the first kingdom of the surface, the Kingdom of Hyrule. And then suddenly Zelda from the future appears. After the events of the Imprisoning War, Ganondorf Dragmire has been sealed underground, but in time to come, in the events of Ocarina of Time, he would send out a Boonshin, a phantom, or dark puppet, to do his deeds. This Boonshin would try to enter the Sacred Realm and use that relic. In one outcome, he did so because the Hero of Time pulled the Master Sword, allowing Ganondorf to enter the Sacred Realm, or at least his Boonshin. It is important to note that his physical body was sealed underground the entire time. He would touch this Triforce and gain a piece of power. In one outcome of this adult timeline, he was successful. He killed the Hero of Time, extracted the piece of courage from his corpse, and from the still living Princess Zelda, extracted wisdom before being sealed into the Sacred Realm with the Triforce by the sages and Princess Zelda. These events would become the Downfall Timeline. In a similar notion, running parallel to the Downfall Timeline is the Adult Timeline, where Ganondorf was stopped by the Hero of Time. Princess Zelda and the sages seal Ganondorf in the Sacred Realm, and Princess Zelda of the Heir of Time sends the Hero of Time back in time, creating the Child Timeline. Child Timeline begins where the Hero of Time appears in front of the Master Sword in the Temple of Time. This moment of time was literally moments after the Great Deku Tree had died, but before Link had met the princess for the very first time. In knowing this, he did not pull the Master Sword in this timeline, and the Sacred Realm would remain shut and Triforce protected. This is furthermore evident by showing that the hero warned the royal family. He took the Ocarina of Time and left the kingdom for an amount of time until he came back as an adult to help protect the kingdom. Ganondorf was caught and sentenced to death, but even though Ganondorf faced a botched execution, he was still gifted a piece of the Triforce. And the question becomes why, or how? What I would like to say is, knowing that the gods and goddesses sit on the edge of time, they do not exist within the same temporal plane, but exist on the very edge of it. They can see everything that's happening like us viewing Hyrule from real life into the video game world. The goddesses would be able to see into this world throughout all time and timelines, knowing that one timeline turned into ruin after ruin of downfall. One timeline they had to intervene and flood the world. They must test this third timeline to see if it will also fall. The goddesses gift Ganondorf the piece of power without him touching the relic. The Hero of Twilight, also known as the grandson of the Hero of Time, who is also the Hero's Shade, was gifted courage, and Zelda was gifted wisdom. No one opened the Sacred Realm. No one touched the Triforce. Furthermore, Twilight Princess is not focused on the Triforce, but of the kingdom. The entire child timeline does not focus on the Triforce. Majora's Mask is of the people of Termina. Twilight Princess is of the people of the light world of Hyrule and the Twilight Realm. And Four Swords Adventure is of the people of the light world of Hyrule and the dark world. Furthermore, the child timeline is the only one to show the true dark world. The downfall timeline does not show the true dark world. It is a corrupted sacred realm. In A Link to the Past. In A Link Between Worlds, we have Lorule, which is not the dark world. But in Four Swords Adventures, we have the dark world. It runs like a mirror to Hyrule, though it is not the Twilight Realm. The Twilight Realm is the other side of Hyrule. And though we are not going to get into the specifics of different realms, realities, and worlds today, my last point is this. The Interloper War is very important. It is an event that likely happened after the Zonai came down to the surface, and is likely the event that resulted in all of the Zonai disappearing, resulting in just Minoru and Rauru as the only two Zonai left. The Interloper War is also the reason why the Temple of Time was created, and why the kingdom was founded. Through this thinking, we can possibly also believe that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are on the very end of the child timeline. Thank you for watching this. Y'all have been great, and I will more than likely continue investigating, theorizing, and going over more about the Interloper War and the events in the pre-split timeline, from creation all the way to Ocarina of Time. I've been Oaf. Thank you for watching, and have a very good one.